Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because of a single word. A word that sounds responsible. A word that sounds almost wise. That word is tomorrow. And by the time Ethan realized what it had cost him, he was 34 years old, sitting across from a 61-year-old woman who said something he was not ready to hear. But we'll get to that. First, the note. Ethan kept a note on his phone. Not a to-do list, not a vision board, just a note. One line, typed 3 years earlier. Specialty coffee roasting business. Start by October. Below it, nothing. 3 years, 3 Octobers, the same empty screen. He knew coffee better than most people know anything. The difference between a washed Ethiopian and a natural one. The exact water temperature that pulled sweetness from a light roast. 7 years walking through farms in Colombia, Rwanda, Indonesia. He wasn't missing knowledge. He wasn't missing passion. He was missing something harder to name. And the longer he waited to find it, the heavier that note became. Here is something nobody tells you about procrastination. It is not laziness. Lazy people don't feel anything. Procrastination hurts. It's the pain of the unlaunched thing, the idea that lives rent-free in your chest, quiet but heavy, every single day. You wake up with it, you go to sleep with it. You carry it into every Monday morning telling yourself, this week will be different. And then the week passes, and the note stays empty. Ethan had carried that weight for 3 years. Until one Tuesday evening, at a small roastery his company supplied beans to, he met a woman named Clara. Clara was 61 years old. She had started her business at 53. Before that, 20 years in hospital administration. Ethan looked around her roastery. The worn equipment, the smell of fresh roast, the quiet confidence of someone who had built something real. Almost as a joke, he asked her, was it scary, starting over that late? She didn't laugh. She set down her clipboard, looked at him directly, and said something that changed everything. Clara said, "The scary part wasn't starting. The scary part was the year before I started, when I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and kept finding reasons why next month made more sense." Then she picked up her clipboard and went back to work. That was it. No long speech, no life advice, just one sentence, and the conversation was over. Ethan stood there holding a bag of green Kenyan beans he could grade blindfolded. He didn't go home inspired that night. Inspiration is loud. What he felt was quieter than that. More like embarrassment. The gentle kind. The kind that doesn't blame you, it just shows you clearly where you have been hiding. That night he made one decision. Not to quit his job. Not to find investors. Not to build a website. He ordered a second-hand sample roaster, just under $400. He told nobody. Because here is the part no one talks about in stories like this. The beginning isn't brave. It's almost boring. A small machine in a corner. A spreadsheet with 3 columns. 45 minutes on a Saturday morning before the city woke up. But then something happened that almost ended everything. 3 months in, his landlord told him he couldn't operate any kind of business equipment in the apartment. The roaster had to go. He had no backup plan. No commercial space, no money to rent one. He sat at his kitchen table that night, staring at a machine he couldn't use and a dream that suddenly felt exactly as impossible as the part of him had always feared it was. He almost listed the roaster for sale the next morning. Almost. Instead, he sent one email to the owner of a small garage space 2 streets away that had a "for rent" sign he had walked past every single day for 4 months without ever stopping. The owner replied in an hour. $200 a month. Shared space. Available immediately. Nothing about the dream changed that night. But Ethan did. Because he learned something that almost no one tells you. The obstacle is never the real reason people stop. The real reason people stop is that they were looking for permission to quit. And that night, he stopped waiting for permission. Here is what Ethan's story actually teaches us. Most people are not lazy. They are waiting. Waiting to feel ready. Waiting for the right moment. Waiting for a version of themselves that is more confident, more disciplined, more prepared. But that version never arrives. Because readiness is not something that comes before you start. It is something that gets built inside the starting. The roaster was not the business. It was the proof that he could begin. Your version of the roaster might be one email sent, one page written, one conversation you have been avoiding for months, one door you have walked past every single day without ever stopping to knock. You do not need the perfect plan. You do not need the right conditions. You do not need to feel ready. You just need to be willing to begin as the person you are right now, with what you have right now, in the place you are right now. Because a dream doesn't die dramatically. It doesn't burn. It doesn't break. It just gets postponed, quietly, one tomorrow at a time, until the person who had it can barely remember why it ever mattered. Don't let that be your story. The note is still on Ethan's phone, but it doesn't haunt him anymore. And if you have a note like that, somewhere on your phone or somewhere in your chest, today is the day you write the next line.